My name is Neha and my thesis topic is Community Development Hub Shimoga. The aim of this project is to provide a communal space for the study and celebration of the art and culture of the Devaru community. I've chosen this project because, like many other rural communities, the traditional ways of the Devaru people is slowly vanishing in the face of poverty and modernization. This is the current living situation of the community, and the current generation has reduced the practice of this art. Warli painting of Maharashtra is similar to Hase Chitra of this community. With proper exposure, the demand of this art can increase just like the Warli art. A project like this would create a huge impact for the city as a whole. That is, increase in tourism, real estate prices, exposure for the local artists, etc. The project has been proposed by CFRIA, that is Center for Revival of Indigenous Art, who works for the upliftment of this community. I have chosen the site as Shimoga is the nearest potential area where the community resides. The site is located in Shimoga city, which is the administrative center. Tourists and locals have to reach this destination before going to tourist spots such as Jog Falls, Agumbe, etc. Also, Shimoga has to be passed for reaching the major tourist destination in India, that is Goa from south. The Chitra art of the Devaru community. So I went to Shimoga and interviewed a few community members. I studied about the community, their history and art. Each symbol drawn in a Chitra painting has a different meaning. A few examples are shown here. In the olden days, they used to make their own paints and brushes. Now it has been changed to fabric and regular brushes. By this project, I also want to bring back the traditional ways of doing this art. The Chitra art is mainly drawn on walls, door frames, window frames, handmade papers, bamboo baskets, etc. Other artworks done by the community are Torana, which are made using paddy shoots. I did a literature study on the Gudigar community rooted in the Uttara Kannada region. They specialize on wood and stone carving. It is said that the wooden works in Mysore Palace is done by the Gudigar community. The first case study I did is a Sanskriti Kala Kendra in Gurgaon, designed by architect Upal Ghosh. The purpose of this case study is to study the functional character. Kala Kendra provides a temporary residential and working space for artists. The basic inference from the study is the site has been properly segregated as public, semi-public and private areas. The public spaces consist of office spaces and museums. The semi-public spaces consist of studios, dormitories, workspaces, etc. And the private space consists of the owner's residence. A service road has been provided along the periphery of the site. The layout of the museum is in such a way that a visitor moves from one exhibit to other without repeating any. The low-profile buildings, painted hues of brown and earthy colors impact a close resemblance to village walls. The second live case study is National Handicrafts Museum in New Delhi, designed by architect Charles Correa. This was done to study the museum planning. The Crafts Museum is organized around a central pathway. As one walks down this way, they catch a glimpse of exhibits from the village court, the Darbar court, the temple court, and other open spaces. Spatial layout attempts to integrate cultural context to space and movement to avoid rigid and formal spacing. No parking spaces has been provided here. An exhibition area has been provided where visitors can see 50 craftsperson every month from different parts of India. People can view the demonstration. The third literature study is Kahmir Craft and Resource Center in Gujarat. The planning of Kahmir is done in the same manner of a village street layout forming chowks and codes. The planning of each module is done in the same manner as in the traditional houses of Kutch. The scale and proportions of Kashmir is in response to the context of the region. The materials used here are locally available materials such as rammed earth, cobblestone, wattle and daub, etc. The residential buildings are more humble in comparison with the others. They are carefully positioned in the relatively private and calm diagonal extreme of the campus. The fourth literature study is Jean Marie Jabau Cultural Center, located near the capital city of New Caledonia, designed by Renzo Piano. The cultural center sits on a narrow strip of land surrounded by the ocean and lush vegetation. This has been designed in honor of the assassinated Kanak leader as well as the Kanak culture of the Kanak people. Sensitively using the traditional Kanak chiefs' houses as a starting point, the architects deconstructed their form to create a monumental sequence of round, airy shells. The cultural center is modeled after a traditional Kanak village, and the pavilions were inspired by Kanak huts. The buildings have a highly efficient passive ventilation system which eliminated the need for mechanical air conditioning. It is also done using traditional materials coupled with modern materials and technology. The buildings have a curved shape that references traditional Kannada construction, but here, rather than woven vegetable fiber, these buildings are made of wooden ribs. Traditional exteriors and interiors of which all the benefits of modern technology are provided. The next literature study is the National Museum of African American History and Culture, located in Washington, D.C. It provides an opportunity for those who are interested in African American culture to explore and reveal its history through interactive exhibitions. The compact building design allows maximum open space. The landscape around the building is an important part of the museum experience. Wide paths welcome and invite visitors in. Native and adaptive plants help to tell the story as well as reduce the need for irrigation. To reduce light pollution, exterior lights are limited to lighting within the corner, which is directed downwards. Design features such as the exterior windows, the atrium, and reflective flooring allow for maximum use of natural lighting. A comparative analysis of all these case studies has been done in this sheet. The site study and analysis. Shimoga, located in the state of Karnataka, is the administrative headquarters of Shivamogga. It is located almost 285 kilometers east towards Bangalore. It has several places of tourist interest such as Jog Falls, Agumbe Dabe Falls, hill stations, palace museums, etc. The district is also famous for its temple art and architecture. There are two national highways through the district, NH13 and NH206. The site can be accessed by the main state highway, that is the Mangalore-Solapur highway, and there are two service roads that are adjacent to the site. Its important nearby contexts are Sahyadri College opposite to the site, Tunga River almost 2.5 kilometers away from the site, and the railway station, which is almost 3.3 kilometers away. Vegetation such as rain trees, biodiesel plants, etc. are found along the periphery of the site. The site is almost 18 acres with minimum contours. Since it is located near the town, noise can be an issue, therefore bufferings must be provided. The wind direction is from southwest to northeast, so more openings can be provided in the western side. The average high temperature here is 35.5 degrees Celsius and average low temperature is 22.5 degrees Celsius. The next is the data collection. General data regarding the site and buildings has been referred from Karnataka Building Rules and Zonal Regulations of Shimoga. Data regarding the buildings, its basic placements, dimensioning, etc. has been referred from Newfords and Time Savers. Concept and zoning. So I divided the site into two, the public zone and the residential zone. Both these zones are separated by a buffer space. Parking has been allotted to the space adjacent to the state highway. The museum has been placed in the center and all other buildings can be accessed from the museum building, thereby giving it the main focus. The main entry is given from the Mettur road and a service road has been provided along the periphery of the site which leads to the service road behind the site. This is how the basic plan was made. The buildings provided are museum, gallery, admin, cafe, library, workshop, market space, exhibition center, hostel and residential zone. The total area is 11,534 square meter, the FAR being 0.15 and the coverage 11%. As said earlier, the site is divided into two, the public zone and the residential zone. A buffer space is used to divide the site. The crops that has to be cultivated for making the paints and brushes, that is pundi plant, gargihalo, etc. are grown here. The museum, which is the main building, is placed centrally and the four buildings around the museum are the admin block, the cafe, library and gallery. These buildings has been connected using covered pathways. The two U-shaped buildings are the market space and the workshop. The hostel block has been placed away from the public zone. On the other side of the buffer is the residential zone where the public are not granted access, yet they can see the houses and the lifestyle of the community members. Near the buffer zone, spaces for crushing and grinding the seeds for making the paints are given. A service road has been provided along the periphery of the site and there is no vehicular movement inside the site. The museum. The main building that has been placed centrally in the site. All the buildings has been designed with respect to the architecture of Karnataka. A huge courtyard has been provided in the center just like the residences in Karnataka. After entering the building, the access for the public is through the left hand side. First, a model of Shimoga and then the set of Malgudi Days which was shot in Shimoga has been displayed. Then comes the sculptures by the Gudigar community. The layout of the museum is in such a way that a person moves from one exhibit to the next without repeating any. The next room is where the history of the Devaru community is placed and then the Chitra frame paintings, 3D exhibits and then the Torana exhibits. A service entry to the permanent collection storage is also given. On the first floor, the Chitra wall paintings are displayed. I've done the detailed rafter plan and museum as my technical drawing. The next is the workshop. A paint studio for Chitra art has been provided with a seating space for 40 students. Separate rooms for paint and raw material storage has also been provided. There is also a lecture room here. The next one is the market space. Each residence has been allotted a shop for selling their artworks. The front portion of the shop is used for display and the back for storage. Both these buildings have similar layout. The cafe is placed on the left side of the museum. Both indoor and outdoor seating spaces has been provided here. A service entry is provided to the kitchen. All the four buildings, that is the cafe, the admin, gallery and library are similar in layout and view. The admin block is on the right hand side of the museum. This is used by the staff members and the interns of CFRIA who work there and is not for the public. Behind the admin block is the gallery. This is where the expensive paintings and sculptures are auctioned. The circulation of the gallery space is shown here. The library is placed behind the cafe. Seating spaces are provided inside as well as along the corridor space. An interactive space has been provided where the community members tell stories about their history and culture to the tourists. The next building is the hostel block. The hostel has been placed away from the public zone. The left hand section of the hostel building is the boys block and the right hand section is the girls block. The rooms on the ground floor are 3 bedroom and 2 on the first floor. The exhibition area. 29 rooms has been provided and each room has been allotted to each state in India. The main exhibition is taken place during August, September and October, that is the monsoon season, the time where more tourists come to Shimoga. Arts and crafts from all over India would be displayed and sold here. Community residences. 24 residences are placed around an open courtyard. These residences has been designed with respect to the community houses. The main features of these residences are double roof, chitra painting on front wall, veranda space for making torana, space for painting chitra. Also, smokeless chullas has been given instead of stove in the kitchen. The special topic I've taken is exhibit display in museums. Object display in museum is not a dull exposition what at present museums have. Display must be arranged after considering the need of the target audience and designed to fulfill the interest and curiosity. Showcases, pedestals, stand, panel, etc. Are the main display furniture. The basic rules for object placement are the objects shouldn't be placed in such a way that they could present a hazard to the visitors. Avoid placing objects less than 305 millimeters in height of the floor. All objects must be secure from theft and damage. All elements in a display should be visually accessible to all visitors. All case displays should fall within the general optimum viewing band of 750 to 2000 millimeters. Importantly, everything should be visible from a wheelchair. Also, it would be advisable to provide a space for refreshment within the museum premises and comfortable seating spaces should also be provided. All these were properly followed while designing the museum. Sectional elevations, the views and the physical model has been shown in the sheet. Thank you.